here at the 2018 NFL Combine with my guy Charles Davis. Charles, every year, man, I appreciate your time. And this year, you had a fun year. You're in the broadcast booth with Kevin Burkhardt, taking the place of John Lynch, who's now in San Francisco. What do you make of what he's done in a year in the Bay Area?
I think what he and Kyle Shanahan have done, that partnership that was forged right out of the gate, held true, and you could see it working. And the best part to me was their patience, because in the beginning, everyone has a plan. What's the old Mike Tyson? Everyone's got a plan until they get hit, right? They had a plan. We're going to be patient. We're going to build. We're going to live with our lumps. We're going to develop. We're going to do that. And then you start losing games. Pressure mounts. A lot of people change their plan. Forget this. Go get me some players. You start grabbing guys off the waiver wire. Anything to try and win a game. Those two held solid, you know. And I know the cynical side. Well, they've all had 6-year contracts. But human nature is, I got to go win a game because they're competitive as all get out. They hung in there, stuck to the plan, and by the end of the season, we saw it with Jimmy Garoppolo coming in, the big 5-0 finish, beating the division champion Rams to finish it. All of it kind of came together. Now, does that mean that next year now all of a sudden they're an 11, 12-win team? It doesn't necessarily mean that, but it tells you there's validation for the plan, and I give those two amazing amount of credit for sticking to it, because most people wouldn't have done that.
I'm curious what you think of the top end of the first round of this draft as John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan get ready for their second year running the show here on draft day. And it seems like it might not be necessarily a deep first round, but there are some really blue chip prospects at the top of the first round. And at pick 9, you're thinking, okay, that's the end of the top 10, but if there's going 4 quarterbacks going in the top 10, you might have a chance at some of those big guys, especially defensively. So what's your flavor? Who are your favorite guys on defense this year?
Well, I love Tremaine Edmonds, the linebacker out of Virginia Tech. I love Roquan Smith, the linebacker out of Georgia. Obviously, Bradley Chubb, the pass rusher, but I think that he might be gone by the time we get to 9. I just, when you start looking at all these players that are out there, Saquon Barkley in a normal year would be a target, because we don't value running backs, right? Well, forget that now. Fournette went at 4 last year. McCaffrey went at 8. Both had big impacts. Gurley went at 4. Ezekiel Elliott went at 4. They've helped remake teams. So guess what? Barkley's not lasting that long. So who slides down to them? Is a Marcus Davenport as a pass rusher? Is he that kind of a guy that people are going to want to take that shot? Because he reminds me of Ziggy Ansah with more ball experience. Secondary guys, Derwin James, I think, is a safety or as a corner, depending on how you want to utilize him. He could be another big-time targeting player. So a lot of guys out there. And if you want big, the big kid out of Washington, Vita Vea, is big and as good as you're going to get in the draft.
What's your philosophy when you're in the top 10? You know, you got to hit a home run. But also, if you see a guy that has all-world potential, like a Marcus Davenport, I mean, how do you mix that? It's about, between taking the sure thing and maybe taking a risk and rolling the dice a little bit.
My philosophy initially would be, who's the best player on my board right now? Okay, now, if I have a tiebreaker and I have 2 up there that have rated the same, then I'm going to go with my position of need. But I want the best player, because typically to me, if I get a better player, even if I have one who's pretty good at that, then I've gotten better anyway, and then I start making moves elsewhere.
Okay, so let's put yourself in John Lynch's seat and give me a roadmap of where you see this thing headed.
Well, I think that, as you mentioned, there are plenty of great players in this draft and plenty of interest in people coming up to get them. And I think I'm from the 49ers, my draft capital, if there's a chance to move back and acquire extra picks and get more players, I think John might be willing to go in that direction.
I mean, you see the Texans last year trade up to 12, the Chiefs trade up to 10, so there could be a market should a Baker Mayfield or a Josh Allen.
Especially after free agency establishes where Kirk Cousins is going, what's going to happen here. Now we know the exact targets for these quarterbacks. That's when the hunting really begins.
Okay, again, so when the phone rings, how do you navigate those tough decisions?
If I absolutely love a guy, I take the guy. If I absolutely love him, I take him. I don't want to sit there and play games and then sit there 3 years later and go, I really love that guy and he just beat me for the 3rd time. No, if I love a guy, I take it.
Charles, I appreciate your time every year, man. You're a good dude.
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.